Good evening, everybody. So I'm just trying to access the presentation quickly, just a few minutes. Good evening, everybody. Hope you all are well. If you can hear me, can you please give a thumbs up? Just see. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome everybody to um our presentation, prepping for MBChB year 2. We are mid-exam slayers, and basically we started this initiative started 2 years ago, and the main aim is basically just to for clinical students to basically provide tips and basically exam revision and exam preparation, and more of peer support for preclinical students. So my name is Rito. I'm currently fifth year, and my colleague Riranzo, we will be basically giving you some tips and advice for the year. Riranzo, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
So, hi everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us this evening. I'm Razum Kari. I am, this is my fourth year at GCT, but I'm currently doing my honors. I have also done my first, second, my third year, and I'm quite excited to tell you some tips and advices on how to get through those years. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Shiranzu. Um, okay. So yeah, so welcome to second year, everybody. Basically, it's gonna feel most of the time like at the edge of cliff. But that's a normal feeling, right? It's a normal feeling, and the main thing is that how can I say, going into this year, what's very important is the mindset. So irrespective of the circumstances, yes, it's not easy. It's not like first year, it's very much heavy loaded, but going in with the mindset and the basically positive mindset and starting this year basically and telling yourself that you're meant to be here. I mean, you've come thus far, you've made it thus far, and just to take on the challenge head on. Okay. So yeah, I mean, applying to medical school, it was obviously, I mean, everyone can remember that day of wanting to come into medical school, and just when we got into medical school, it felt like we just wanted to go out. And secondly, it's gonna feel like that. It's gonna feel like you wanna, like you're gonna question yourself a lot. Like for example, personally, I questioned myself a lot in my second year. I was like, should I do this? Is medicine for me? Basically, I just tried to remind myself of my purpose, right? Why I am studying medicine in the first place. Why did I work so hard in high school, in matric? And I mean, the fact that you got accepted, it's a great indication of your resilience and your hard work as well. Okay, so this image over here depicts, yeah, basically the feeling of second year, not to scare you in any way, but just to be realistic so that we can basically prepare our mind for what is to come. So sink or swim, right? It's gonna feel like that, but don't worry, there is support available. Okay, there is support available. It's gonna feel like a shark is about to hit you. When it comes to exams, I mean, setbacks and failures, see that as a means of growth. I remember in my first exam in second year, I was crying actually because I studied so hard for that exam. But after that, I lifted myself up. I didn't let that put me down. Okay. As the years go on, you'll see that it's going to be much better, especially after semester five. Um, after semester five, from semester six onwards, everything will definitely make like much more sense. Okay. So what are some of the expectations for year two? So the courses for year two, you get the integrated health systems, part one and 1B, becoming a doctor, which includes the clinical skills and family medicine, and also the languages. Okay. So a bit about the integrated health systems, it's very integrated. So you first start off with the language of medicine course. So basically, the language of medicine course is basically sets the foundation for what you're going to do throughout semester three, four, and semester five. It's mainly second year, semester three, four, and five is mainly based on diseases and pathology. And therefore, the language of medicine is basically mainly how can I say, it evolved around anatomical pathology, about the study of diseases and the basis of diseases. So it sets a very nice foundation for that. In semester two last year, you all learned about the normal body. So normal anatomy, normal physiology, and how the body works and the mechanisms of the normal body. So going forward now, in second year, you go from the you do the whole body besides the head and the neck. And then in semester 5, you do the head and the neck, including some other disciplines as well. So you'll be mostly doing the PBL cases. So basically, that's when they give you a case scenario and you'll have your PBL groups as well, and learning objectives will be given to you. See the PBL groups as a means of consolidation of the work as well. I know there's certain pros and cons from students' perspectives of PBL, but the benefits of it is that it's a means of consolidation and also for you to recap on your work as well. The cons of it, it's like it's very time consuming. But yeah, my advice would just be try to make the best of the PBL sessions. Yeah, and just ask the facilitator as many questions as you possibly can. Okay, and there's many different disciplines in integrated health system. So you get anatomy, you get embryology, histology, physiology, anatomical pathology, chemical pathology, medical biochemistry, medical microbiology, medical virology, as well as immunology. So basically, it's like imagine if you're focusing on, for example, you do a case on the cardiovascular system, they will basically have different, how can I say, theory or work under each of these disciplines under a certain case scenario or basically under a certain system. So these are the systems in second year: integumentary system, musculoskeletal, cardiovascular, respiratory, gastrointestinal, hepatobiliary, that's basically the liver, male and female reproductive systems, the renal system, as well as HIV. So, going into becoming a doctor with regards to clinical skills. So, in clinical skills, you basically learn how to take a history and do physical examinations. Like you learn how to do a general exam, cardiovascular exam, respiratory exam, and an abdominal exam. And clinical skills is very fun. It's very hands-on as well, and it's very practical. And this sets the foundation for your clinical platform work in your clinical years. So yeah, it's very, very useful. With family medicine, it's a very easy course. It's not as bad as integrated health systems. And basically, things you learn about is more like consulting, how to consult with patients, how to break bad news, and also basically how to integrate the SOAP model to manage your patients. So the SOAP model, obviously, you take you basically with the consultation of a patient, the S stands for subjective, O is for objective, A for assessment, and P for planning. So yeah, so basically family medicine is basically revolves around basically patient care. Um, with regards to languages, you do Afrikaans and isiXhosa. Sorry, there's a background noise of someone. Um, I don't know if it's non-seculelo or student. Can you please mute yourself? Okay, it's much better. Okay. Let me just. Okay, thank you. So with languages, okay, it's compulsory for everyone to do both Afrikaans and Xhosa, and it's basically mainly focused on like communicating with the patient. So getting to know your name, history, social history, personal history, family history, medical history, giving a diagnosis, breaking bad news, and giving farewell to the patient. There is on the drive, on the Google Drive, there are basically scenarios of basically for the languages. There are how can I say, on the Google Drive under the languages, there's a nice documents per system of basically interviews with patients. Okay. and it's written in table format. Okay, so that's that part. Okay, moving on for reflections of year two. So basically, reflecting on year two, yeah, so the main thing I want to focus on for my reflection is self-care. So the main advice that I can give to you is yes, it is tough. Theory overload feels daunting, but very importantly to understand is that look after yourself as well, right? Because you are going to take care of patients one day, and we shouldn't let, how can I say, the heavy workload um, bring us down and make us forget about taking care of ourselves. So self-care is really, really important. Okay. Do your hobbies, do things that you like doing, prioritize and try to make time for social life as well. Some of the challenges that I had was basically battling to memorize all the content. Um, it is impossible to memorize all the content that they give you. That's why try to basically work through your learning objectives, look at what is important to understand, and try to, if you make sure that you answer, if you make sure you answer all your learning objectives, then that will kind of make you feel comfortable for the examination. So I basically tried watching YouTube videos, tried to understand some of the work. Watching YouTube videos also on how to study as well. And then I also tried to get the best study method that worked for me to basically try to find a way on how I can basically memorize the work for the exam, to regurgitate it in the exam. So, with regards to finding no time for social life, so I tried my best to plan my week out and making sure that all my Fridays are rest days. So, at the beginning of the week, I will go to an Excel sheet and I will plan my day out. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I will go to Vula, check the timetable, put everything in, and once you make that timetable for yourself, you kind of take control of your week. And also, I always get a diary and a daily to-do list. So in the diary, every day as well, you take control of your day. Right? At the beginning of the day, you wake up, you plan your day. Even if you have to do a planning for every single hour, do that plan. Okay, it will be very helpful. Um, So basically, failing my first exam was very tough, very, very tough. But as I explained earlier on, I took it as a means of doing better, okay? Of a means of taking that and how can I say, reflecting on things that I had changed personally and study methods that I had to change as well. Very important, take some time out in the day as well to breathe, okay? Battling with isiXhosa. So, whether you're battling with Xhosa or battling with Afrikaans, try to maybe get a Xhosa friend to speak with, to keep up to date with. Maybe keep a small book at hand as well to maybe every day maybe going through those words as well, so that when it comes to the language exam, a day before the exam, you don't have to memorize everything. Because what I did for Xhosa, I kind of just memorized all the all the um all the scenarios. I memorized everything, but then I didn't count that much in favor. But luckily with Xhosa and Afrikaans, it's a pass or fail. Okay. On your transcript, it's pass or fail. Um, Always feeling overwhelmed. That was one of the main challenge I had. But when you do feel overwhelmed, when you do feel that you can't anymore, um, reach out to Mr. Nkosi Malala at Student Wellness. She's very, very helpful in helping students that are battling with non-academic issues. And I want to say it's normal to actually experience non-academic issues because I mean we're human beings and life do happen. Okay, some study techniques, what worked and what didn't work for myself. So this I took out of the USMLE Step 1 2023 medical study guide on effective learning strategies. So I'm going to start with the low efficacy learning strategy. So rereading your notes, just highlighting your notes and summarization is kind of the low efficacy strategy. Moderate efficacy would be you making mnemonics, elaborative interrogation, self-explanation, meaning you basically, how can I say, you take the work and you explain it to yourself, which actually do help a lot. And then concept mapping, so making mind maps. So that is very useful. Okay. And then one of the best methods of memorizing, especially for this year, is practice testing. So making questions for yourself and also going through past papers. Going through past papers really help. And also distributed practice, meaning um, basically you're doing spaced repetition. You revise your work continuously and not just once, and then you go over it again a day before the exam. But working out the pattern of yourself, for example, Anki cards really help a lot with the active recall, making flashcards as well, because if you plan out your study and you plan out your study routine, you make your flashcards, or even asking a senior student for if they have any flashcards, it does actually help a lot. I see, it's mentioned here osmosis. Osmosis videos is really, really helpful as well. But there's many other videos such as Ninja Nerds as well, which is very good with explaining the theory. So yes, some YouTube videos that you should try to watch. Ali Abdal is actually very, very well versed in study techniques. But the main thing I took from all of these videos and based on my second year is that you should try to do more active studying than passive studying. So passive studying, for example, is rewriting the work, highlighting the notes, and just reading through the things. But active studying is like actively testing yourself, working with a study buddy and asking a study buddy, and you guys test each other, taking a blank page and writing down everything that you know based on a certain topic. So that's basically active studying, actively testing yourself to see whether you remember the work that was taught in class. Um, so what I do a combination of both passive and active studying. So first I would do the passive to get the information in, and then active studying to actively see whether you recall the work or remember the work. If you can teach it, you know it. So that's why, for example, maybe teach to an imaginary audience, or if you have a study group, if you organize a study group and you guys teach each other concepts to each other, that also helps a lot in remembering for the examination. And then I spoke about the Anki cards or flashcards. That's for active recall and space repetition. And as you can see in this graph over here, the more you review your work, it will remain basically retained. But if you don't review your work regularly, it will basically, at the end of the day, when you do your exam, you will retain a very low percentage of that particular content than if you reviewed it always. And yeah, making questions yourself is really, really useful. The last thing I want to mention about the study technique is the Pomodoro technique. So this is basically to prevent you from studying for like 3 hours on with no break. So this is basically where you study for 25 minutes, take a 5 minute break. Then you study for 25 minutes, 5 minute break, then 5 minutes, 5 minute break. Then after 4 cycles, you take a longer break. For example, a half an hour, 15 to a half an hour break, and then you do it and do the same cycles again. So that's kind of really helpful technique as well. I would now like to hand over to Riranzu, which will speak about family medicine and clinical skills.
Thank you very much, Rita. I think um, what I would love to just emphasize, which I believe is very important from what you said, is time management. So second year would really, there will be a lot of work, but if you are very good at managing your time, that should really help you a lot. So that diary, that to-do list, writing out your week, those small things are very, very important to help you to get through the year. And don't be alone, work with friends, find friends, find one friend, I don't know, but don't be alone, especially this year. Um, yeah, the second slide, please. So clinical skills and family medicine were my favorite, and hopefully will be yours too. So this is where you can actually get that distinction that you want, or really, really good marks. So family medicine and clinical skills, especially family medicine, are not really that bad if you manage your work very well. You can be able to do very, very, very well in those. So if we look at the family medicine portion of it, so mainly you're gonna have OSCEs, and then you're gonna have an MCQ and an SAQ. What OSCEs really are, I'm not sure if you guys know, but OSCEs, you have like different stations. So you have a station for clinical skills, a station for family medicine, your languages, which is Xhosa and Afrikaans. And then in those stations, you have particular sort of exams that you'll be required to do in those stations. So you're going to have OSCEs, but you can also have your MCQs as well. So how I managed to work through family medicine was to firstly know what's coming on a Sunday, know what family medicine work is coming for that particular week. So you can see there on that red, the box there, that's yellow, blue, and green. You have something like this, so you will know on this week, this is what we'll be doing. So you go through your work on a weekend, but what's important is that you actually do your learning objectives. I'm not sure if I'm able to share my screen, but I would have really loved to show you guys how
I can make you a host. I can make you a host quickly.
okay. So just to quickly show you guys how to can you guys see?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, yeah. So, for instance, you know that for this week I'm gonna be doing HIV and counseling. So I have the whole work here with me and all of the readings that I have to do for that particular week, and I have everything sorted out nicely. So really try to be as organized as you can be. So all the work, all the videos that I have everything in here. But what's important is that I've took out all of my learning objectives and I've answered them. And why this is important is because day before an exam or weeks before an exam, you don't want to be going through all 10 uh, lectures that you had or work that you had, and you want to try and rewrite all the learning objectives. That's going to be difficult. If you do it each and every week, then you know that a week before you're just going back to revise all the work that you've done. And your exam for family medicine, that MCQ, that SAQ, all the questions will come from your from the learning objectives that you are given. So just work with your learning objectives and don't leave things until the end of the term. Okay. So that's basically what I wanted to show you guys. You can reshare again with that. So I think it's very, very important for you to be very good at managing your time. So in terms of clinical skills, mostly you're just gonna be going there and doing practical stuff. But even for those, you need to practice. My biggest advice is have a friend that you're gonna practice with, your clinical partner. Ideally, it should be someone in the same race as you, because then you are able to practice on Sundays, you're able to practice on Mondays, whichever day works for you, really. And how that will help you guys is that day before exam or week before exam, you don't want to be practicing everything that you've done until that time, because then you feel overwhelmed. I'm sure they've told you guys that exams in second year, you write for the whole week. So on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you'll be writing. So you don't want to reach exam week and you trying to go back and revise everything that you've done. But if you practice every week, it can be Sunday for 1 hour, you meet up with the clinical partner and you guys use rubrics and you start practicing. That would really help you. If you do your learning objectives for family medicine every week, that will really help you. And then when the exam comes, you actually know that you have covered a lot of things and you can only just focus on your IHS, which will really, really help you. So that's really it from me, guys. Just work with someone, don't be alone. Take it one step at a time. Don't leave things until the last minute. But otherwise, enjoy. It's gonna be a really fun journey. You're gonna learn how to use a stethoscope for the first time. Take your blood pressure. It's gonna be really fun. So just make sure that you enjoy the journey and you work with others. Yeah, those are the advices from my side.
Thank you so much, Shiransu. Before I end off, I just wanted to ask, we have another tutor on board, Rofaniwa. Do you maybe have anything to say? We have 4 minutes left. Anything from your side?
Oh yes, thank you.
Pleasure.
So I'm just gonna, yeah, can I take over now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'll just be adding a couple of things. Hopefully I'll be really quick and short. Um, it's not really much, but I think the main thing that I wanted to say, I would actually say that I have two main take-home messages. And the first one is that this is your journey, therefore you should define it. I know that we're saying all these things about our own experiences and and other people will tell you other stories about their own experiences considering second year. But the best thing that you can actually tell yourself is to say that this is my own journey, then I'll have to define it myself. So it's up to you whether it's going to be a success or not. So yeah, this is just to say that if what people are saying is actually scaring you off or anything like that, always go back to yourself and tell yourself that this is my own journey, I can define it myself. And then the second thing will be that I highly recommend that you put in the work throughout the year, because I realized that what actually really helped me at the end of the year for second year was that my interim mark was really good. So that's what I actually recommend, to say that please don't underestimate those um, mid-year assignments, assessment 1, 2, and 3. Don't underestimate underestimate them. Put in the energy, put in the work, and study as hard as you can throughout the year, so that at the end of the year you actually have less pressure also going to the exam, because everyone at that time is panicking. So at that time, if you know that your interim mark is really good, then you'll be much calmer than everyone else. That's what helped me as well. Well, I wasn't really calm, but I got to realize that what actually pushed me at the end of the year also to make my marks really good was my interim mark. It was really good. So I actually recommend putting in the work throughout the year. And what I can say about clinical skills and family medicine, maybe also dissections for anatomy, is that try your best to prepare the work beforehand before you go to the classes. Like, do the work, do the readings for clinical skills and family medicine, and also for your dissections, do the readings beforehand. This helps also that by the time when you're about to write your exams or do your OSCEs, you have done the work already. So I always say that do the hard work first, so that by the time we're in, now you'll be thinking about exams and all that. It will be less stressful because you've already done the hard work. This is to say that as you're preparing for those classes beforehand, also do the notes that you could use at the end of the year. I saw that very useful for family medicine. I didn't have to study much because already I had done the work throughout the year. So I recommend doing that. So as you're going to the classes, oh my goodness, less than 1 minute. Okay, I'll be quick. So as you be going to the classes, just make sure that you go through the readings and participate, especially in family medicine and clinical skills. Make sure that you participate. You don't hide. Put your all. And if it's practices through, what do we call, role plays, please do the work. Do the work and give it your best. That's wherein you could actually do less work preparing for the exam. And then lastly, for dissections, I would say, and also just physiology or anything in IHS, find fun ways to study. Whenever you feel like, I don't feel like studying, use the time to maybe go through flashcards with friends, watch YouTube videos, watch osmosis like they said. Just find something to do in the meantime as you're waiting for yourself to gather up your strength and study. So